smooth.
I want to make sure that the
So smooth. And there I am.
you're done.
Okay. All right, so welcome everybody to the Académie Lafayette March board meeting. We are meeting 1 week earlier this week than normal because of spring break next week. So we are excited to see everybody tonight. It looks like Harriet got kicked out, but I think she's back in. To start with, can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Mike, so moved.
Second.
Second, Harriet.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I think I heard from Carlos that there's no stakeholder comments tonight, correct?
Let me unmute. No, there are not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then we can go ahead. I saw Alonda. Alonda, we can start with your report.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing well. How about you?
Pretty good. So, so basically we're just doing the same, hold on just a second. So basically what we're, sorry. I'm just like, why are you talking so loud? This is the space I have. So basically what we have is we're still planning on doing our block party on April 30th. And just kind of getting the community together. And then we're trying to, we're getting some information back about having at the end of the school year, excuse me, as a skating party, just to kind of, you know, go in something fun to go into the summer with. Yeah, so we're kind of excited about that. We're really trying to see if we can get that skating party kind of going, and because we were going to try to have a boulevard nights where we did the what do you call that, the movie theater at the boulevard,
The drive-in.
the drive-in. Thank you. Yeah, so we do have a couple things in the on the ground kind of running, but definitely it's the block party. But the other two, we are trying to see if we can get that up and going. And other than that, we have the teacher appreciation that comes up every year in, you know, in May. So, and we always have Kelly, who's fantastic with that. So that's always going to be something special that happens. And yeah, so we're kind of just excited to kind of end the year, and we got some, we have some volunteers already. We recruited some kindergarten and first grade parents, so us older parents can retire. So we can recruit some of those young, you know, excited parents to get in there to start volunteering. So that's what our agenda, that's what we have been doing for the last couple of months, trying to recruit these kindergarten and first grade parents to take the roles on. So, and just kind of just being laid back and trying to get everything going for the next year. So then everything's good to go for 2023 or 22-23. So
Awesome. That's good to hear that you're focused on getting sort of the younger parents involved. I know we have a very dedicated group of parents, yourself included, who does a whole lot for the school. So so yes, you should be able to step back a little bit and the next crew start to do some more stuff.
I think we might have a good crew that might start coming up. So I do like to see the new faces and kind of stalking them is what I call it, but just kind of recruiting them to see, really being intense to see if they'll go ahead and take some places. And we do have some people that are excited, and I like that excitement because I remember that, you know, when your kids are young, you're all excited. You want to be involved in every single thing, even though you shouldn't be in every single thing. But yeah, so I got some of those parents, and so that feels good.
Awesome. And it helps them to feel a part of the community, right? It's kind of a struggle to figure out what role do you play if you don't know anybody. So I think it helps them as well.
And it really does. I mean, I've met, excuse me, over the years, you know, I don't know, Nat will be in 8th grade next year, so 7th grade, but I've met so many different people that, you know, I'm pretty laid back and open, but I've met people that are just, that I might not have ever met, but because I've always been involved since like pre-K, then I've met all different types of people. And I have enjoyed that, you know, like I said, Nat will be in 8th grade next year, but I've still enjoyed getting to know different parents on all the different grade levels. And so I think it's an exciting thing. So we've been pumping that just belonging type thing and just kind of getting people involved. So
Alondra, will there be another PTO, like a school-wide PTO meeting this year?
Yes, I'm trying to, because we have like 2 months left.
Yeah.
2.5 months left. I'm trying to get one more in there. Usually there's only a couple a year, but I've been trying to do more this year. But I am trying to get another one. You know, we have board meetings, but I am trying to get one more in there right before our block party in April. The end of April. So I'm trying to figure out days, but so much goes on. So it's hard to kind of plan one last one, but I would love to plan one last one. I have a couple tentative dates on there, but I'll make sure everybody knows when those dates are, just so no one's lost.
Awesome. Any other questions for Londa? All right, wonderful. Thank you for your help.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, hopefully everybody saw the February minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? We're a very quiet group today.
So moved, Michelle.
Second, Harriet.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up, governance, Michelle.
All right. So Dana is going to, Dana, why don't we start with the board training on sunshine law, if you're ready. You're on mute.
All right. Sure. Can I share my screen? Somewhere around here.
Go ahead.
It should be, green down at the bottom center.
Yep, there we are. There it is. So let's start this baby at the beginning. So my focus, good evening, everybody. As you all get ready to go on spring break, is this really true that we're at spring break? What has happened? I know for Mr. Mbank, he's like, please hurry up, but it is moving.
No,
quickly.
I'm not.
You're not?
Wow.
Then we need to talk to you. You need to, you should be. At any rate, I want to focus on with the board, the things that you all may deal with sunshine requests and sunshine law, and just to make sure that you're doing things right. Well, the biggest thing facing boards is, what is a meeting? You know, are we having a meeting? Two of us stood here and said something to each other as board members about Académie Lafayette. Do we need minutes from that? And so this is my focus is on that. There are a couple of other pieces I'm going to bring into it, the difference between closed and those kinds of things. But our focus is on making sure that you all are compliant with the meetings. So because you all have control over governmental money, the taxes from the citizens of Kansas City, you all are governed by the Missouri Sunshine Laws under section 610.021. And that means you have to have open meetings. The Sunshine Laws came about in the early 70s, late 60s. They really got their footing after Watergate. And it was the this push to create transparency regarding what our governmental entities were doing. And so we went from, not knowing anything to access to what was going on, and a requirement that our officials are on notice that they can't get together and make decisions separate and apart that we can't witness. So what does that mean? We have open meeting requirements, and except in emergency situations, a public body must give at least 24 hours public notice before holding a meeting. If the meeting is to be closed, they also have to state that, and they have to state the provisions under 610-021 why that meeting is being closed. And you all have had those experiences where you all are meeting strictly for a closed session meeting, but what is posted either on the website and or in the buildings is that we're having a meeting and that there'll be a closed meeting. And they also have to put in that notice what you're meeting about, i.e. student discipline or employee personnel matters, or to review if you all are buying property, to have a discussion about the proposed purchase of real estate and the costs involved. That would be posted. We're going to discuss the purchase of real estate so that someone from the public could make a decision as to whether or not they would want to participate. And also it puts everyone on notice about what you're going to discuss in that closed session. This is why your agenda gets published. If it is an open meeting, as you all are well aware, you all are available live streaming through Facebook. You all are pretty high tech compared to most schools, but you have your live streaming. Somebody could come to the campus and sit with a staff member and look at this if they didn't have access to a computer. So all of those make your meetings open so someone can participate. And it's up to the board to make sure that those things happen. And so here are all the various ways that you can have a meeting. But no matter how you go about it, whether it's in chat rooms, whether it's in person conference, phone conference, or Zoom or virtual, it has to be available and open so that any member of the public can also listen. Now, it's important to know that when you all are having meetings, even though it's open to the public, it's not open for the public to participate unless the board acknowledges it. If this is an opportunity for you all to conduct the business of the school. So that's why you don't have people raising their hand and saying, Ms. Markham, you said so-and-so, I would like to discuss that. They don't get to do that. They have a very specific part of your meeting where they can share thoughts in a limited way and keep it moving. So while it's a public meeting, it's not a public interaction. All business conducted by the board of directors on behalf of Académie Lafayette is subject to the Sunshine Law. So that means that's why you have the minutes. That's why your contracts are available. If someone asks for it, they can get your employee list and their titles and their salaries. Administrative meetings. So the school may have committees. Those committees not appointed by the board, but like a school committee, i.e. your COVID-19 committee. While the meetings don't have to be published because they're not a board appointed committee, the minutes from those meetings are available. So it's a lot of kind of diciness in there. The things that are not available are open, are legal actions or advice of counsel. So when we go in closed session and I talk to you about legal matters, that's not subject to disclosure. Or if you all, God forbid, are in a lawsuit, the things that we talk about in terms of those the lawsuit would not be subject to disclosure. Leasing or purchasing real estate, hiring, firing, disciplining, reprimanding, or promoting specific employees. So if you all are having a general conversation, we're going to make sure that all of our staff gets a COLA increase in their pay. That's a general provision. But if you all were going to talk about a specific employee and their pay, or that specific employee in a discipline issue, that would have to be in closed session. Scholastic exposure, graduation of identifiable students. So if you're saying the class of 2022 graduates in May, that's a general and would be an open session. But if you're going to say, you know, Bob and Jane and Sue are going to graduate on this date, that would be in closed session. Testing and exam materials, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, applications for employment, those are not subject to sunshine or disclosure. Going back under that non-disclosure, school administrative meetings, school committee meetings, those not created by the board, PTA meetings. I know you all have your PTA is not called PTA, but those are not subject to sunshine requirements. They don't have to post that we're meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m. But if minutes come out of those meetings, those minutes can be subject to sunshine request. So that's important to know. So I'm going to test you all, and I'm going to go through this quickly. If we were in person, I'd have you raise your hands. That's a little much. So we're going to do it this way. 2 board members and a general contractor are talking about an Académie Lafayette vendor contract. Would that be a meeting? Would that be something? Would you all have to have published that?
No.
No, that's correct. All right, for jumping in there. Académie Lafayette has a surprise party for a staff member, and the executive committee and the head of school are there. Would that require a sunshine notice?
No.
No.
Good, look at you all. Académie Lafayette is having a strategic planning committee with the full board and the superintendent from KCPS. Does that need to be posted?
Yes. Yes.
Look at you. Académie Lafayette Christmas dinner at Regazas. That's just a hint from me. I would like to attend that, but that's an aside. Full board legal counsel, Awa Sufi from KC Smart and Doug Thaman are present for the dinner. Do we need to publish that?
Yes.
No.
Yes?
Yes.
Now, no. However, legal counsel would advise you to do so. You don't have to, but I would say do so, and we'll come back to that. So you were right and wrong, Harriet. I think that was you.
Yeah.
Student expulsion is a 3-person committee appointed by the board to meet with the student parents regarding the expulsion. Does that need to be noticed?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a closed meeting.
Oh,
Right.
There it is.
Yeah. Closed meeting.
Can't
What do
get
I
past
win?
you, Harriet. Harriet gets the gold star for today. And frankly, Harriet gets the gold star every day. So let's acknowledge that. So what about a retreat or informal gatherings? Does that need to be posted?
Yes.
Yes, very
Yes.
good. You all do that. Thank goodness. So your board minutes available in draft form within 72 hours for the public. It should record the topics and the votes. It is not a transcript of your meeting, so it shouldn't be Beth said blah, 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 blah. Then Harriet said blah, 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 blah. It should not be, this is not a depot. So it should talk about the topics, that there was a discussion, etc. And Carlos does a magnificent job. That's not a big issue for you all, but I just want you to know, and those listening, when they get the minutes and they have participated by viewing the meeting, and it doesn't say that, we haven't failed. This is not a transcript like a depot. This is to record the topics, record what happened regarding the topics and the vote. There should be one set of minutes for the school. So there shouldn't be like, oh, the teachers keep a set of minutes where they participate and parents have, nope. There's one set of minutes for this school. That is the official record of your business. Open minutes must be approved in open session by the people who attended that meeting. So if you didn't come to the February meeting, you should not be voting on the February minutes. The same thing with closed minute meetings. They have to be approved in closed session, which can sometimes get ridiculous because you have a closed session in January, you have a closed session in February, but you don't have one in March or April. What do you do? Because you've got those minutes hanging out there and nobody wants to open a closed session just to approve the minutes to create another set of minutes that have to be approved in closed session. So that can get a little wormy. If you know, okay, we're not gonna have a closed session this month, but we will be having one next month, just carry it over. You obviously do not want to carry minutes over more than a quarter. So you may have to, do just what you really don't want to do, but you don't want to look up and it's like, oh, we haven't approved these closed minutes in 6 months. That is rare because most schools have a reason to go into closed session at least once a quarter, but it's just something to keep in your mind. Sunshine records request to the school and the board. People have this confused that you have to turn the records over in 3 days. That is not true. You have to respond in 3 days. If that response is the ability to provide the records requested, great. But if you can't get those records together, you need to tell the requester when you will have them ready. So if it's going to take you three more days or a week, and it needs to be reasonable. You can't tell somebody it's going to take 2 years to give them 10 pages of records. That's not reasonable. But it needs to be a reasonable response within 3 days. And what can be provided are the minutes of meetings, certain school records, like there have been requests for a list of all of our employees, their names, their what their job title is, that kind of information. And their salaries, because that is a financial data that we're required to provide. But we typically don't provide we do not have to provide an employee's address, like their home address. Obviously not their social security numbers, things like that. Admin info. So if there are emails between Mr. Mbang and his principals regarding an issue that is not specific to a student or discipline or personnel information of the employee, then those types of documents. Financial information is open. Executed contracts, open. Those are examples. This is not the exhaustive list, but that's to give you an example of what that includes. Certain student information can be disclosed, and it's the information that you would find in a school directory. So a student name, their grade, their home address and phone number. If you have a school directory with that and someone would request it, they would be entitled to it. They would not be entitled to a student's discipline record, their grades, their test results, any kind of help that's being provided by or through the school, none of that. The school can charge for time spent to gather, and you can charge for copies. I think it's 10 cents a copy. You can also provide it electronically, and that's what most people want today. Very few people want to kill a bunch of trees and have a bunch of boxes. But the important thing is you don't have to create the information requested. So if they ask you for something that you don't keep as a record, you don't have to go and create that record. So to Harriet's point, when in doubt about a meeting or a record of a public body, whether it should be open to the public or not, go ahead and post it. You're never wrong if you post it. You can be wrong if you don't post it. And so with that all being said, that is a quick fly through of what the board should know and be aware of with regards to sunshine laws. Do you all have any questions for me? I know it's sexy and exciting and everything you could ask for on a Monday evening. You're welcome.
But it's important. We appreciate you
important.
keeping us legal. That we always want to make sure to have an update each year, a reminder as to what we should be doing. So we greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Namaste.
I think that a couple things, it's, those of us that chair committees, just make sure, and, every once in a while you'll get that naggy email from me about making sure that you are putting those minutes in the board folder, in the minutes folder, so that if we do get a request like this, we can easily access them and everybody can get to them. And then Beth, we were talking about, what were we talking about on this? It was.
I think we already addressed it, Dana. I think there's been numerous questions about the COVID committee because
Yes.
I think there's an impression that the COVID committee is a board committee. It is not a board committee. It is a school committee, as the school has many, many committees. So those meetings aren't publicized. We have board members that listen in. It is not a quorum. We share minutes when it is requested to know sort of what happened in those, but there was confusion as to, is that a board committee? Is it not? And it is not a board committee.
All right. And there is another training that just came out from the Charter Association on sunshine law training. And I can send that link out to everybody if you want to, look at this again and go to more board training, especially if you're running a committee. There is something that they just sent out on that. So I'll make that link available to everybody in case we want to look at that. But this answered a lot of questions and clarification for us. So thank you,
Just
Dana.
one more thing, just for clarity. If you're having board committee meetings, they have to be posted. And I think you all already do that, but that's just a quick, I just want to make sure you know that it's not just a big board meeting, but it's finance and governance, and all of you all have to have minutes. Not only do you have to post, but you should have minutes from every meeting. So someone has to be your scribe. Even if it's no more than, we looked at each other, thank you. That's your minutes.
We said, I'm not prepared today, and we.
Yeah, you closed it out. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes, I think we have gotten really consistent as a board, keeping those minutes, keeping them in the shared folder that we all share. I think the one reminder, we do post those committee meetings. And so most of those happen on a regular basis. If there's a change, because sometimes something comes up and there's a different meeting date, I think we need to make sure to notify the school to update the calendar as well. So I think that's where we probably need to be a little bit more consistent.
And I don't think we've been consistent on always posting the agenda for a committee meeting. Do we need to post the agenda as well, like we do a board meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Can we just add those into the calendar? Right, because there's the Académie Lafayette calendar. Does that work? We just sort of add the attachment to that calendar and.
Absolutely.
It
doesn't have to be extra work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Good to know. I
So-
did not realize that piece.
Posting it on the website, is it enough?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's the preferred. People are not, you before the widespread use of the internet and electronic media, people how many people actually went past your door and said, oh, it's a board meeting, So actually people have more access and more, you have more transparency by posting it on your website, because that's where people are going to go to find out about you.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, I think the thing that we have to start doing is adding those minutes to the calendar. And Mr. Bang, do those always go to Elites? Because I know we can't post to the calendar.
Yes, Alex posts things.
Okay,
So we can, what we can do is, we have a folder for our agendas. If you have folder for those committees, I'll just share them with her and she posts them.
okay, perfect. And then, yeah, we want to make sure that we're getting those to her in time for her to then post them at least 24 hours in advance. So we don't want to put pressure on her to wait till the last minute and then she has to drop everything and post them. So we can put out some guidelines. Okay. Mr. Bang, can you pull the board report back up? I know one other thing I want to talk about. I attended something like a week and a half ago that actually Dana guided in governing Kansas City public schools, which was really interesting. It was 25 board members from 17 public school boards, and all coming together to again kind of find that unity in governing boards. And it was really, really interesting. I think the big thing that came out of it, and this is the first of 3, there's another in April and then another in May. But I think one of the things that was talked about, elevating and focusing the work of public school boards. And it's really about that engagement so that we're spending less time in board meetings, reviewing reports, listening to reports. And it was this recognition that the onus is on us as board members to read the information in advance and come prepared with our questions and have the meaningful conversation and decisions. So it's really kind of working on that preparation and the meeting design and the meeting planning that really leads to a richer discussion and dialogue. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting interacting with some of the other board members and hearing, so many of us are dealing with the same concerns and same topics, and then kind of learning about some others. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of sessions, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that going to the June retreat. We'll be talking about some of that as we plan for the next year at our June retreat. And Beth, I don't know if you have any other updates on that retreat.
No, I mean, I think that's the main thing, is just thinking about how do we use our board's time well as revisiting the strategic plan. So Mr. Mbang and I are working on identifying somebody to support the process of reevaluating our strategic plan and updating it. So that will be the other big piece of our conversation in June.
Cool. And one other thing on training, School Smart has put out 22 training modules. And so 22 training modules sounds like, whoa, but these range from like 4 minutes in length to, I think the longest one is just under 18 minutes in length. And Beth and I have looked, well, I've looked at the titles. haven't ever actually done any yet, but I'm going to go through those and then can send some of those out that apply to us in our board that we can do. And then the other thing was parent-elect dates. Mr. Bang, do you know from the Council de Cole? I know you guys kind of set everything, but when that's going to start to be announced? And
Well, it was supposed to go out in the last Friday newsletter, and I swapped it with what happened in. It was my article, and swapped it with what happened in Aloysia.
mm-hmm.
But and then tomorrow it's going to be a separate letter with the calendar will go out.
Okay.
Send it tomorrow. Alex shared with me. I was been working with her to see what we could finalize there for the calendar, so the parents know what would be the timeline of the election. So it will go out tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. And then my final thing actually is the update on fixing the glitch in Jeff City. So it moved to the floor today, and I have the oddest update. So I don't really know what it means, but the good thing is it didn't get voted no. So it was moved into, once it was voted on last month and it passed, then it was moved into perfection, which is the next stage. And there are probably people in this meeting that can talk about this in better than I can. But so it was taken up for perfection today. And the only update that I have is that the title of the bill was agreed to. So I don't know if that's the only thing that was lingering then for it to move to the next stage. So I will post more information, but we've had very, very active and involved parents. I know I went to Jeff City with a group last month and met with legislators and really pushing for this. We have parents calling, we have parents emailing, we have parents texting. We've got a whole toolkit that we've been just kind of feeding out to parents. And as we get closer to that final stage of voting, then we'll probably be asking parents to do even more and just make our voices heard, because it definitely makes a difference. So I don't know if you heard any different update, Mr. Bang, from this afternoon from Doug.
No, I have not. I have not yet.
Okay.
I will ask that after. I'll send him an email and see. Generally, he sent update. I know he sent an update, but this was before the end of that session.
Yeah. That update was just kind of weird, or the thing that I heard is just like, all right, the title's agreed to. I'm like, is that it? Or is there more? Or is it carrying over tomorrow? Are they still talking? I don't know. So, all right, that's all I've got from governance.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Next up, finance. Jackie.
Hey, hello, everyone. Yes, and thank you, Michelle, on 2 counts. One is making sure everybody's aware of that the importance of responding to all of those fix the glitch emails and texts, because it just really helps all the schools and certainly provides us a cushion to do some things that we've been needing to do. So thank you. So as always, we do accounts payable. You all received the DESI payment sheets. I'll talk a little bit about ADA changes, and then our actuals and projections for the year, and then a summary. So it's accounts payable. There were a few things the finance committee addressed with me, and there were a couple of vendors that had to be paid twice in the month of February. Retirement and Humana. So we had to pay 2 months in February. So it looked a little inflated.
Buses.
Yeah, and buses, but that wasn't, yeah, 3. So 3. So that wasn't, they weren't in the January accounts payable. So those were the 3 main discussions. So I just need a motion to approve February accounts payable.
So move to approve February accounts payable.
Okay.
This is Harriet.
Second.
I'll second that. This is Mike.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And again, thanks to Michelle for bringing up the idea of overview, oversight, rather than more detail. And I know that these board reports I've tried to shrink them a little bit. A couple of things I know with Gwen Poss was very helpful, and things that were more meaningful in a summary because of all the detail that you all received. So in fact, before Michelle talked, I was going to say we're still working on trying to summarize and provide a little less of the detail, because you do get all the packets. And then if there are real issues that we've identified in finance committee, we would obviously bring that to the full board. So overview of revenue is kind of forecasts of the good guys and the bad guys from our budget. And the net projected change in basic formula is $235,000. And that changes. It's still a moving puzzle piece. But part of that is a major decrease in weighted ADA, but a little bump in per pupil rate, and the fact that we also had the $218,000 carryover from the prior year due to increased enrollment and attendance. We also have an increase in Prop C, an increase in our food payment, which we've never had. So the seamless summer works. Students are eating and we're getting reimbursed. And Title I and special education were carryovers from the prior year. So those were all helping us in the bottom line. ESSER 3, we had a question I got a question from several board members when the legislature approved the distribution to the schools. So this is the ESSER 3 money that we've had in our budget, hoping it was going to be allocated, which did happen. Our allocation reduced about 54,000. So it's a little over $1,020,000 now. And then again, we talked in Finance Committee, and Mr. Bang and I are working with Westbrook and looking at our 22-23 budget to see how much of that ESSER 3 we can actually use in our next fiscal year, which looks like it might need a little help. Okay. Next slide. So some of the drivers that I was explaining is that we're enrolled, our enrollment is under, but our weighted ADA is under by about 65 students. That's significant, $500,000 or so. Our attendance year to date is about 92% and enrollment is 1,240. That also moves a little bit because there's some seats open, and so there will be some changes there. And then again, that prior year correction I was describing. And as it stands right now, what we're getting from DESE and then the MOU portion from KCPS increases the per pupil amount. So that was one of the reasons for the net change in basic formula. Okay. Next slide. This is the detail I'm talking about. Working on it, trying to get this down a little bit. But the most important columns here are column 2, which is our forecast through June. Again, we have the actuals. We always provide actuals through the month that is closed. And again, some of that is skewed because we do 1/12 in our budget, right? So we may have one month where we have a large cost and then the rest is divided. So I'm gonna look through the forecast. We're forecasting that we're gonna be a mere $143,000 over our revenue budget. And if you follow down and see the changes in salary and expenses, the biggest is the under in salary and benefits. And again, a lot of people that were not hired, we have a lot of subs. And so we have a contracted line that kind of balances that out somewhat. With everything I know right now, it looks like we're about $246,000 over in expenses. So we're under, our revenue over expenses is under by about 102. You see that second column, $339,000, that is before debt service. Okay, our target was to try and be at 442, which was a pretty break-even budget. Okay, next slide. Expenses, just quickly, nothing has really changed here from a previous. We're over budget and expenses, major under in salaries and benefits, but then again, we've had substitutes and additional contracted outsourced services. We've been over a little over budget in final summer school expenses because that was finished at the beginning of our school year. And some of that had to do with just attendance. Didn't meet our expectations and we had still hired staff. We're over budget in technology and capital expenses that we had to pay for from operating that were not budgeted. Mr. Bang and I are working with Westbrook and trying to come up with a true capital budget of unanticipated expenses, and then maybe some that we can plan over the next couple of years. And, you know, explanation of food service being over, we're also over in revenue. So that had a corresponding revenue associated with it. And some of these also are ESSER 2 corresponding revenue that I may not have budgeted completely in this school year. Okay, next one. Okay, and so this is the summary page for everything we talked about. I've explained the forecast versus budget for revenue and expenses. And then you see about 4 lines down, the $401,000 in capital expenses and debt service. So this month it puts us, my forecast is a little under 62,000 in the red for the end of the year. Not to panic, not worry. Those are the kinds of things that change with this moving puzzle pieces. Weighted ADA attendance may be up spring. Weather's better. So the COVID changes. So hopefully that amount will be easily taken care of. Okay, next. So forecast, as you know, is the January data for the month that has been closed. And then we look at all of the upcoming expenses and try and forecast we're going to be up or down from what was budgeted. And one of the good things that we have, I know Brad Steele talked about that from Westbrook and Company, we have 97.4 days of cash reserves, which is exceeding the DESI requirement. Some of the things I'm looking and watching are the decrease in the weighted ADA. Is the increase in the per pupil amount something that's sustained? Was there just something that we used in our forecast because it had happened, and is that sustained? Any other unanticipated capital projects? We're really looking at our monthly ADA, making changes to the projections. There are students who were on quarantine that were actually participating, and those making sure those hours were counted. Really working on the 22-23 budget, as I said last month. We did receive all of the building assessments from MC, and I need to set up an evaluation meeting. So I'm sure Finance Committee will be part of that, and anyone else that might be interested. One of the things we did discuss in Finance Committee is that we've been talking, one of my goals with Mr. Bang this year was to do two things. One was an HR system application that Marcia Berry ended up doing all of the legwork, and it's amazing. It's amazing that it's consistent and helps us do our jobs more efficiently and more effectively. The second part of that was to set up this program called AnyBill, which is an accounts payable system. I was planning on budgeting in 22-23, but we are going to have to do some startup now so that it's up and running. So it's $600 or $700 a month, depending on the number of bills. So during the Finance Committee, it was just like, let's bring this to the board's attention because we wanted to budget next year, but we're going to have a few expenses for April, May, and June. Okay. Last but not least, one of the things we wanted to talk about was we really wanted a motion to approve a sign-on stipend, though we should say stipend, and that is for staff that refer someone who's hired. And they would get half of the $500 at the end of first semester, and the other half at the end, the other $250 at the end of the second semester. That's come up, I think, from the principals meetings, and I think it's an efficient, effective way to continue our recruiting.
Okay, so here's the what do you want to call it? Motion. Approve stipend of $500 for staff referring a new teacher that is hired. Pay one half at first semester, a new employee complete, and the remainder at the end of the school year. We need to get that approved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
This is Kelly. I second it.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
Okay, awesome. And because of the ways spring break fell, honestly, we were not able to get a preliminary budget in time for board approval. If you remember the last several years, we've had one extra meeting. I think even last year we might have waited till the April meeting, can discuss that. But I'd love to see if we can have a preliminary budget meeting, and they don't take long because you'll get some detail ahead of time and just hit the major points. But this helps with Mr. Bang getting approval for the number of staff that he needs for startup of the school next year. So I would suggest March 30th gives us a little time, and then it won't be long. And I think that's a Wednesday, and if that works, it would be great.
So I will send out a note to everybody confirming that March 30th date. Please let us know as soon as possible if it doesn't work for your calendar so we can make sure to have a quorum for that budget approval.
I know there on the agenda, there was a mention under finance about the school bus services. I mean, the only thing I have to report is that Carlos is diligently working on options. And the only thing that I have done this week is to just take some of the information that we have and put it into a spreadsheet to provide to Mr. Bang and Carlos to look at kind of preliminary, all of the items that we need to look at and what it would cost and pursuing another contract also. Mr. Bang, was there something else you wanted to?
You're on mute.
Not really. The buses, maybe I put it on my report just to
Okay, great.
give a summary of what's going on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jackie. And I know at the beginning you mentioned trying to shorten your financial reports. I actually think they are exactly the right information for the board. I think the finances are so complicated that I appreciate you walking us through it each time. So as we think about making time for discussions, the finance piece I would definitely keep as is. I think it's tremendously helpful.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
will do.
And I think that what you send out ahead of time, if we look through it, typically if I have questions, you end up answering them without me having to ask them through this session. So that's good.
Okay, great.
Did we need to approve setting that March 30th meeting, or do we not have to vote to the?
I don't think we need to, I think we need to post meetings, but I don't think we
Okay.
need the board approval unless I'm wrong.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
Now I'm thinking we've got to have a vote on everything and post everything.
All right, development committee.
Hello and good evening, everyone. With that in mind, Michelle, of course, you always have questions, so I apologize. I did a little bit of reporting on what we have from July to about current. So our totals are about 200,004 with what we have with our annual fund, our direct appeal, and some capital campaigns. That's all funneling through our website. So these are funds that are coming in and we're gathering together. So the general ledger and grant and all that for the months of January and February still haven't been added because we're still kind of looking at more of the details. So I just wanted to do a little bit of reporting on that. Not sure if you guys have any questions with that. It's kind of kept it a little simple. And I'll give you guys more next month with probably more details. We do have the fundraising events did go out today, which was a general Generations Day Art Walk. It's going to be in April. Celebrating the connections between our generations to honor those special individuals who have impacted the lives of our Académie Lafayette students, either by bringing wisdom, cultural heritage, and guidance. This is also the fact that not everyone will have a grandparent, so it's somebody special. And I want to stress that it's anyone that has impacted a child's life. So they do have to RSVP just so that we can accommodate everyone's schedule. Everything went out today, so if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Also, the supplies for the students, everything has been given to the art teachers. They're going to be distributing this week, along with they will have the opportunity to check out their Canvas panel so they can take it home for spring break. The art walk will be at each campus. On Armour will be the 19th. Cherry the 21st, and Oak on the 27th. I know it's probably a little frustrating that if you have a child at each one, you have to go, but it also gives each campus the opportunity to enjoy the art walk. And then we will have an online gallery for those who cannot attend, and the link to hop in and view the artwork will be on there once we've received the RSVPs, and those who have an RSVP, it'll still go out so everyone can actually take a look at. This is also a fundraising event, so they do have the opportunity that if you want to purchase the artwork, you can. You don't have to, but you can, and the proceeds do go to the art department. So anybody have questions on Generations Day, feel free to reach out whenever. And then I think there's one more slide, or maybe not. Oh, there is. And then the evening in Paris, we do have just, I know a lot of people wanted to attend. It is a smaller scale, but we are creating a alternative in hopes that it's going to entice more families that are not going to be able to attend, but will be able to in a different aspect. But I'll let you guys know here in a couple of weeks once we finalize those details. We still have a few more sponsorship opportunities that do have tickets attached to it, as well as once all the staff tickets have gone or not gone, we will be releasing those here, I believe, April 1st. We'll send out a reminder on that. And then it is on a virtual silent auction. I kind of jumped around, so forgive me, for everyone to enjoy. And we've had an overwhelming response with donations from businesses from all over the city, as well as donations from our very own families who have opened their hearts to help us raise the much needed funds. So honestly, thank you to all those AL families who have really come through. Any questions on any of that?
It occurs to me, I haven't heard anything about the student class project. Are students still sort of creating class projects for
They
the
are the teachers. It's going to be teachers' experiences. Not the art, because we're kind of into the generations, but teachers are going to be doing their experiences. So they're going to be creating an experience that you'll be able to enjoy with the teacher. So there's some really good ones, actually. Anything else? I keep mine short and sweet. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks for your time. Right, Diversity Committee, Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. Short and sweet this time. We will have more next month, but our Panorama Community Survey will be administered in late March. We're working with School Smart KC for school family partnership. And we're also working on another parent event right before school lets out. So we're hoping sometime next month we'll have that next parent event. So things to come. I don't know if Beth or Mr. Abang have anything to add.
No, just that I'm excited for that parent survey. I know or community survey. We've talked about that for a long time. And I think that will be really helpful to help us identify sort of what is the culture in our school and where are there areas that we can really focus on to move the work forward. So I'm excited to be able to move that forward.
And I would agree. I'm excited to see, what that tells us. And so, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. So that's it for the Diversity Committee.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mbang.
So following last month's meeting, there's some question asked. Then we had a meeting with the School Performance Committee and see what we can share so the board have a full understanding of certain aspect of school discipline. So I was trying to share here, why do we have Saturday school, number one, and then after that there will be a comparison you can see in middle and high school ARMA, where we have Saturday school and in school and out of school suspension. It sees and answer any questions. So Saturday school was started, I would say 9 years ago, probably. And the idea was to avoid student missing classroom instructional time due to repeated behavior violation that may result in school suspension. Instead of a kid who disturbs the class, you send him outside or into a buddy room, which is equivalent to a 1 hour suspension anyway, because he's not there. So we give him a mark. So you needed to have 3 times within the week, within a month, to be able to do Saturday school. It was changed to 6 times now, and serve as consequences for students repeatedly disturbing the learning process. Serve as consequence for student repeated tardiness also, even though it's not the biggest issue we have. So coming tardy into the classroom or arriving late. Also an opportunity for students to catch up on their missing homework or assignment. If this is homework or assignment. On this one, it may be either voluntary or involuntary. When I say voluntary, if somebody is missing homework 3 times, you can come to Saturday school to finish it, or project. Some students decide, some may decide with in agreement with the teacher to come to Saturday school to be helped or to finish a project. And those are the voluntary cases we have. So these are the main incidents we have. This is the 10 main incidents because there are others. So when you see 100, it's 100 mark. It's not 100 times Saturday school. So many of them may have never had to have Saturday school anyway. So missing classwork, summative, meaning the something that is being graded and it was not turned in by the teacher, by the students. Either you give them a 0 or you have them to come to Saturday school to finish it. Truancy, disruptive behavior 39 times, and insubordination. Tardy is 31 times that was assigned. Missing homework, failure to report to lunch detention, horseplay, cell phone use, and misuse of computer. Again, this is mark was incidents which is not necessarily will lead to Saturday school. So just to have an idea, what kind of issues were sanctioned here. So now, if you see here is the Armor one, because that's the only one that have Saturday school. So we are trying to give, this is by number of students now. Because the question was whether it's going to be incidents or number of students. This number of students we have here for in-school and out-of-school suspension for the first semester. As you can see, we have 4.57 for whites and 3.64, equivalent to 2 students here, and over there is 9 students. Hispanic is 2 students. It's higher because we only have 24 kids, 24 at this point. And what else? The rest is 0. The average ISS and OSS is 4.14 for the building. So understand also that this year, throughout the country, discipline was extremely high. So the only year I would think about comparing it with was 18-19 was normal year. My recollection gave me around 3 in and out of school or 5 in and out of school suspension altogether. They were all, none of them were minorities. Saturday school has been more, we have sent more students to Saturday school, 43 did Saturday school students, and we have 19 white, 14 black out of 55 is 25.45, and here is 9 from 0.64 for whites. The second group is Hispanic, 20.83, and the third group is multiracial, 15.5. So altogether, we have 13.65% of our kids who did Saturday school for various reasons in the first semester. One discussion we had in the committee is at least presenting what is being done in the buildings after we get this result, meaning drilling down to find out, for instance, for the Saturday school one, which teacher is giving more Saturday school. So what we need to also avoid is it's not giving the name of the teacher, of course, but at the building level, because here we're not giving building teachers which one is doing it or not. So that at the building level they can see it, and it might be due to different things. It might be the composition of the classroom. It might be teacher experience. It might be different things that would help find more solution to that issue. But also, try to present a longitudinal data based on how we're supporting it, how we're presenting it, so that the board may have an idea what happened 3 years ago. So I should say that the last 2 years, we don't have reliable data. The only one we have closest is 18-19 for this data. So the committee recommends that whenever we are presenting a discipline data, to give an idea of a sense of perspective, what happened, what was our numbers years before. Do you have any other to add to this?
Well, I mean, I would share one. I do think it's important to recognize that our out of school and in school suspension is so low, so that data is hard to say much about, and it's purposefully low because we know as a school suspensions do not support student learning, right? They need to be utilized in certain isolated cases, but overall it's not a great strategy to suspend large numbers of students, and so those are purposefully low. And so what the teachers instead do is utilize Saturday school. It definitely drew attention. It does not seem like our students of color, they are overrepresented in that Saturday school data. And so I think there were definitely questions that I appreciate the buildings are looking into to really understand. Are our teachers equitably giving out Saturday school marks, or do we have some teachers that are more likely to give it to certain student populations? And so sometimes when we look at the data, it's hard to know just from these numbers what's going on. But I really appreciate that the buildings are diving down, and we'll follow up to see what they learned from those more in-depth looks at the data.
Any other question or comment? The next one is head of school report. We have I received finally the COVID report this afternoon, so I added it there. We'll discuss, Chrissy will give us an update about admissions and outreach. And we'll talk about academic program update and planning for 2022-2023 school year. Cases and quarantine, student vaccination and information, plus pool testing. These are the cases, the quarantine over the last few weeks. And the vaccinated contacted. So as you can see, yellow, we went to 0, and then we had 3 cases last week. And some of the buildings had 0 cases, especially at Armour, for the first time, having 0 cases. The quarantine is 0, 0 over there, and then 3. As you can see, we are way out of the surge we had in January, and looks like the citywide also what's happening there. At this point, one class at Cherry has reverted to masking for 10 days, calendar days, after they had 2 new cases diagnosed last week. Both cases were symptomatic before we went mask optional. So the cases happened before we went mask optional. So based on the criteria of reverting to mask, if we have 10% of a class with confirmed cases, so that class will be masked for 10 days. So it's the first time we did it. But again, as I said, the cases happened before we made the decision to move to the recommended mask. Vaccination, overall, Académie Lafayette, 50% of the students are vaccinated, and Armour is 48%, 56% at Oak, and 44% at Cherry. You see, this is a vaccination disparity compared by race. 62% in the district for Caucasian, and minority 29%. Armour 55-34. Oak is 72-29, and Cherry is 55-27. This is the pool testing. The first one is Armour, and then we have Cherry, and no, first one is Oak, Cherry, and Armour. It's the percentage of the pool, the students who are being tested on a weekly basis. And overall is 39.6% of our students are being tested on a weekly basis. Question, concern, comment about the COVID itself?
I would just say I really appreciate the work that the COVID committee has done over the last 2 years, sort of understanding very complicated data, really trying to interpret guidance. And so I just think they have worked around the clock to keep our community safe. And I really appreciate the work that they continue to do.
Thank you. Let's move to Chrissy. Do you not asking that? Okay, that's good. Chrissy, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you able to share the slides?
Yeah, it's on. Can you see it?
I can't.
I see them. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to see them.
It's weird.
That is weird.
It's like you're off. You were used to be on. Are you still on the or are you on your phone?
I'm in the office.
Oh, you're here. You can't see my slide? I see you.
It's so weird. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay, we're good. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for your patience. So I just wanted to provide a little admission update. And so what we have here on this slide is all grade apps month by month. This is the total comparison over 4 years. So as you can see, for year 1, there were 75 applications. For year 2, 117 applications. Year 3, 101 applications. In year 4, this current year, we had 104 applications in February. So down below is the total for the month by month comparison. So yearly for the month, yearly for year 1, 392. In year 2, 503 for the total. Year 3, 395. In our current year, 405 applications. So we are increasing and we're on the rise even with COVID.
Now I have a question. When did we increase our kindergarten class? Was that back here in year 1?
2017, 18.
So that was before this. That would have been represented prior to these years.
Okay. Okay. So that right before COVID, we were just, was that our first high school class? I mean, that 503.
Our first high school class is year 2.
Okay.
And it's right before, no, it's during, yeah, it's right, yes, it's during the COVID years. The first COVID year is year 2.
Okay. So we've had 5 years of large kindergarten classes?
Yes, because they're now in 5th grade. Remember that the first year we took we took more first graders. Remember, we added 43 first grade the very first year, and they're in 5th grade now. That's 1st grade.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
On the next slide, this is the kindergarten apps, the month by month comparison over 4 years. So for year 1 in February, the month by month is 62. In year 2, there were 53 total kindergarten apps. In year 3, 52 kindergarten apps. And then for the current year, for February, 61 total K apps over the 4 years with the month-by-month comparison. So month-by-month, the comparison, the total for year 1, 353, year 2, 362, year 3, 270, and for the current year, 274.
Okay.
So year 3 and year 4, year 3 was the first hit from COVID, because year 2 is the first year COVID happened in
Yeah.
in
2020, 2021.
Okay.
March.
And remind me, do these numbers represent siblings as well? This is all kindergarten apps.
This is all kindergarten apps. Okay, so this is our application breakdown here. So for the new kindergarten apps, non-minority, 53% for all new kindergarten apps for this year. For the new kindergarten apps for minority, 46%. New total overall for kindergarten apps, 190. For all kindergarten apps, non-minority, 59%. For minority for all kindergarten apps, 41%. The overall total for all kindergarten apps, 259.
Okay, can I stop you with, I'm lost. New and all, what's the difference here? Are these the siblings?
Yeah, new is non-sibling.
Okay, so we did really very well with that. We just have a lot of siblings. Okay.
A lot of siblings.
I mean, to balance I mean, are we getting kids into the seats? We did pretty good. I mean, minority wise, we increased. I mean, 46 is pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, but we just let's need to know we this year and I think last year, all these 2 COVID years, especially this year, we didn't reach our diversity goal of free and reduced and applications. One of the reasons is we did not have what we used to call recruiters. Remember, we used to send 3 people going to 2 or 3 going to the to certain zip code with low income zip code to help them fill in the application. We did not have it the last 2 years. The second issue we have is we don't have teachers, preschool teachers. We only have 1 at this point. We used to have 3 going to 3 or 4 preschools with low income and so on. We don't have that. So we have been having that issue to find teachers to go and do that. So hopefully if things get back to normal and we get back to our recruiters and have enough preschool teacher, it would impact the number of application and also the diversity.
Right. Okay.
Yep. I do think those programs really matter. And so it has definitely hurt us, the fact that we couldn't
Yes.
find anybody to hire for that this year. We see that playing out. So hopefully we can get back to that next year.
So in February, so I did attend a few events. On the 16th, Show Me KC Schools. They had a high school and beyond school registration event that was held at the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kansas City. On President's Day, School App KC had a President's Day canvassing event. And so through that event, we were able to distribute 700 brochures in the Kansas City Northeast neighborhoods, where Show Me KC Schools actually asked several charter schools to provide information. So we provided our information, and yes, so we reached 700 homes. So definitely got some good steps in that day. And then on the 23rd, Show Me KC Schools had the pre-K cooperative fair that was held at the downtown Central Library. So I was able to attend that with our partner, Emmanuel.
Okay, any question?
And then I just want to say that the data that was provided, the data provided was at the end of the open application period leading up to lottery. Applicants were notified of the offers today, and for next meeting, I'll have a demographic of campus assignments that'll be available at the April board meeting.
Great, thank you, Christy.
Can I bump in here for just 1 second, if you don't mind, because I just got an email from Edie, and it passed in the House, so now it goes to the Senate.
Wow,
This is
that's
huge. This is huge.
That's
Oh my
fantastic.
goodness.
Yeah. So I've told her. I said, you know, my next question is like, who do we need to thank for today, and then who do we need to bombard between now and that Senate vote? So
Right,
I'll
yeah.
get information out, but it passed.
That is amazing.
I mean,
breaking news.
That's like what, like $2 million a year to us, and that will
Yeah,
grow.
but we still have to go through that Senate, and
Right.
I assume everybody's been reading about that Senate.
Yeah, we are gonna. I'm taking a trip back. I'll take parents. We're going back.
That is great.
Thank you. Academic program, starting with staff recognition, charity recognition. Charity would like to recognize the literacy committee. Thanks them for planning the reading week activities at charity. And for oak recognition, Marlo Bradley, a Title I, works at Title I is supporting students with academic challenges. Marlo is recognized for her professionalism in any work she does. The quality of work has a positive impact on students' performance. Marlo has been a very good addition to the Title I team. Jury of Marlo. And Katie Wilson, MYP, and the diploma program coordinator for coordinating the IB diploma program authorization visit. It's even more than that. She has been working like it's crazy, you know, coordinating it and having the team to come here, and extremely successful. At the same time, helping teachers to get their training and working together, the curriculum. It is amazing. So I'll talk about it later about the visit, how it went, and I can say that it's to her credit that you know, we get to where we are. And thank you, Katie. So hiring, we have multiple positions posted, elementary and high school. We're using Bamboo HR and are conducting interviews almost daily, sometimes 2 interviews a day, of course. We have made 13 offers and have 4 signed agreements so far. We're still waiting because, you know, international hiring is tough because you need to make sure that it's not a fake candidate, find out how to verify it, and also answering all kinds of questions, what type of visas, if they're moving here. And I'm sure that the principals have been extremely busy doing that. Katie Wilson, I just talked about, Dr. Paul and myself, we try to deal with the middle and high school hiring part, especially for me, for the French. 2022, I mean, February 22nd, we had our Professional Development Day Immersion 101 as a school, as an immersion program. Mr. Jata coordinated bringing back training from Minnesota with Maureen, Karen Dorsano, and Sharon Norlander, who came and spent the day with our team from the Carla Institute. And we will do another training session to equip teachers with effective immersion teaching strategies. It's good to recenter ourselves on who we are training and making sure that every teacher, whether you're a math teacher, science, or French teacher, you're teaching the language through your discipline. We have applied for a new parent engagement program, a partnership with Coalition Collective. with the support of School Smart Case. I just talked about it. It's going to be a training and active training to see how we can better engage our program, our parents. Remember that in the diversity committee, one of our concern or priority is how to create a sense of belonging. Hopefully, this one will help us do something like that. High school, as I said, the diploma verification. So the verification will help us, which means that our current graduate can graduate with a diploma program because you have many who are interested in doing it. The diploma program verification, which included interviews with all our high school faculty and administration, current 10th grade students, parents of current 10th grade students, and also the board president, Beth. So they interviewed all, and we had to film and share with them whatever we're doing. The visiting team was impressed by our ability to prepare for the diploma program while opening a brand new high school during a pandemic. I mean, it's like a record to open it and get it authorized. So a lot of work. They recognize how this required an extra dose of enthusiasm and dedication. They noted our strengths in international mindedness, developing IB learner profile characteristics in our students, and providing learning opportunities beyond the walls of our school building. We must now focus on finalizing the safety features in our science labs and providing permanent space for our visual art studio, and as well as we work toward our finalized authorization for the DP. So how it works in general is they're going to make a report to the IB, and then they'll send us their final report, a final decision of authorization. Most of the time, you have few things. You may have few things to be addressed, and some of the matter is that safety feature for the science room is already installed on the lab. The safety feature is an emergency button that you push in case there's an electric issue and it stops everything. So it was installed the next day after the visit. Now we need to see with the gas also. So work we will be doing during the summer.
And I knew they would be focused on curriculum and programmatic work, but until I read that report, I had no idea how detailed they are on the space requirements, like the science and art labs. So yeah, that was, I had no idea they go to that level of detail. So I think it's great that we have plans in place to sort of address those. The other question that came up in the interview that I had with them is they're really curious to hear from our team how we support all students through the diploma program. Oftentimes many IB schools have different tracks. I think this will be sort of our main track. And so I think it would be great for the board to hear just from the high school team, what does it look like to support all students through that?
Yeah, I think having the MYP was very helpful,
right,
in the middle school. So once we're done, we'll be a 6 to 12 with MYP and the diploma program. So this is great and exciting. Again, thank you, Dr. Paul, as the leader of the building, and Madam Katie Wilson for tireless work, and all the team of the high school team for their amazing job. Thank you. Planning for next year, I just talked about facility renovations. So I have been in contact with team and Greg, because they have been helping us to figure out what we need in the chemistry room, biology room, and physics room. We already have the room, we have the furniture, we have the cabinet, we have everything. But we're thinking of how do we rearrange it and put more station for chemistry and biology. We need a shower area where in case there's an issue, so it's going to be a portable one. That's one of the requirements from IB. We need a fume hood also. We're going to get a portable one. Those are the two things. What is required by IB is getting a fume hood a shower area, portable one, in case there is an emergency that we can shower. And also having those emergency button is already installed. So the rest is what we need to be ready. And once we have that, we need to film it and share them with them that we are ready to do it. But beyond that, what we want to do is to make sure that we have state-of-the-art chemistry and biology and physics room. That's why we are trying to renovate those rooms to make them bigger and put what we need so that they're really top-notch science room. And for the art rooms, it's going to be on the 4th floor. We will have to put two rooms together. On the 4th floor, there's one room with water already. So we're working with team and Craig to see how we can do the design, how to do the bidding, and so on, to make them happen during the summer. And last but not least, we're in the process of ordering furniture for next year and equipment, because with the delay, we want to make sure that those smart TVs on each of those classrooms and the furnitures are here ready and installed. We're learning from our past mistake. Hopefully, we'll be able to make sure that before school start, all those rooms will be equipped. Any question for high school, for program, for anything? Okay. Transportation. So when I wrote here, I mean, something changed in between after I sent this. So one thing is clear is we do not want to put all our eggs in one basket, because in the basket, something happened there, we have a problem. What I wanted to say is, Carlos sent the request for proposal and got almost nothing. Nobody of those people want to work with us. I think it's Apple, KC Premier, and also first students. Whoever is around, they don't even answer. So after that, we started thinking of, well, if we don't have any bus company to help us, maybe we should talk to Citywide and see if we can take over that bus company, and run it for ourselves. So we started the conversation, and we said, okay, let them give us more information about what it takes for a school to run that bus company for ourselves. But at the same time, Carlos talked to Apple Bus and say, hey, there's an opportunity here. There's this bus company that you can take over and run it for us, and we pay them. So after that, I think they started really being interested in us. We had a meeting between Apple, Citywide, and us to discuss how we can make that happen. However, Apple is being taken over by another company, and the deal is not finalized yet. We have to wait until maybe April before we get the final decision, even though the guy is telling us that, hey, they can still do it even if they're taken over. And he's optimistic that they will be able to help us. In the meantime, we continue the conversation with Citywide about us running our own bus. So I had a meeting with Carlos and the two managers of Citywide on Friday, and they were extremely helpful, ready to help us to see how we can run that. So after sending this today, we received the numbers of kind of a cost and so on, what it may take to do it. And Jackie, Carlos, and I will work on the number and have a better idea what it costs to do that, to run it for ourselves. So they will be open to giving us their lot, leasing up their lot over there, and then helping us at least for 1 year, guiding us to be able to do it. So those are the two possibilities we are pursuing at this time, and hopefully we'll try to do due diligence, and at some point the board will have to make an informed decision based on on many factors and see whether or not we will do it ourselves or we'll go with another company.
In that process, will you reach out to other sort of schools that run their own bus systems?
I don't know of anybody around, unless it's a private school or Raytown. I think they're doing it.
Right. Some of our larger, so KCK runs their buses, as does Grandview School District. So I don't think any of the charter, I don't know of any charter ones that run their own bus.
Yeah, well, yes. The problem with bus now is, number one, getting a bus is a problem. It looks like fabrication and ordering a bus, the bus itself takes 6 months is a problem. But yes, we will do that. We will try to see how we can meet with them and get some get advice or more information about what it takes to do that. Why do I have this?
I don't know. I think it showed up on the wrong slide, but I don't need a slide for mine. I don't have anything else to say about the COVID update. I think we are good there. I mean, the main thing that I did want to share, one, I do think we're in a place that we can start to come back together for our board meetings. So I would propose that starting at our April meeting that we do in-person meetings. I recognize that some people have very tight schedules, so maybe there's a need to be virtual, but hopefully most of us can be there in person. I will work with Mr. Mbang. I know the last time we tried to do hybrid, it was a little bit complicated. So we have some glitches to figure out to see if we do have someone that needs to be online to make sure that that happens seamlessly. So I will send an email out. Anybody can sort of let me know if you have any concerns about starting to shift back to in-person, but I think 2 years of virtual is definitely enough. And I think we've lost a lot just in relationships. And so I think it is time for us to move back in person. And I would also, we initially were going to try to do some social gathering in January. Obviously that didn't happen, but I think we're looking at May now, maybe for an end of year celebration, just for a social gathering. And we will make sure to post it for Dana, and so that we're not violating any sunshine laws. And so yeah, you will see emails with proposed dates about that. So anybody can let me know thoughts that you have there. And then
live streaming still.
Oh, I mean, that I do. So I think that provides access to our parents to be able to watch at their convenience. So I think that really allows access to our board meetings in a way that we never saw before. I know there was a lot of hesitancy to record board meetings prior to COVID. I think we've all gotten comfortable with that. So my recommendation would be we continue to live stream it for anybody that wants to just watch it or watch the recording of it. Did you have thoughts on that, Michael?
Nope, just curious.
Yeah.
Well,
I do think we may need to look at kind of setting up that room a little bit differently, and we may even need some mics, especially if we want people to be able to hear the recording.
Oh, right. Yes, I forget that. Right. We've been down this. So yes, we will investigate sort of what that is. So yeah, we have to figure that piece out.
Jackie just posted something.
That room is not, what does that mean, Jackie? I don't know what she means by that room is not, like we can't for.
Oh, it's full of computers and IT.
Got it. Okay. Well, I've got some stuff that I will look into to figure out what our options are.
That's fine. That's fine. What months do we want to come back in person?
I was proposing April, unless it's more complicated than I thought, in which case, if we need more time to get the room set up, I think we will take the time we need to be able to do both. But if we could do it in April, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if it is not, we will make sure, I'll talk to Roger to see where we can put those computers for the room to be available for board meeting. We can also have a board meeting in the, we have a lot of venue to have a board meeting anyway. The library can be a venue for board meeting. It's bigger in case people want to come there. And we have TV and everything there, or the flex room.
Yeah. I think the big thing we have to figure out is sound, if we're going to record so people can hear us talk.
Yeah. I think library can be a good option. or the flex room, which is bigger.
Okay. And we might pull a few people in prior to our meeting to test it out and see what it sounds like. And if people,
The issue is it has nothing to do with what we do now, because if we're doing in person and want to stream it, we need to have the equipment of this school district with a good camera and you're doing it. Remember, you and I, when we went to Cherry, they sent me the I have a dream, but I do not have a time to put in this report. But we attended the Black History Month celebration at Cherry, and while the guy was filming in the gymnasium, all the other classrooms were watching the same thing at the same time. So, which means that something can be done very quickly with something like that with Zoom, and people are watching. You can do it easily, probably.
Right. So yes, I'll follow up. I think it's possible, but we have some logistics to figure out how it would work. So. All right, but that was all I had. Any other final thoughts? All right, wonderful. Meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Right.